Buffs Nation, Buffs Nation, Buffs Nation. It is 4:20 on a Friday afternoon. Well, just a few minutes after 4:20. What better time to preview the matchup in less than 24 hours? We got Colorado already in Fort Worth, getting ready to take on Sonny Dykes and the TCU Horned Frogs and the Hypno Frog, everything. Obviously, we got a ton of fans already in Fort Worth getting ready for this big game. Like, to me, it feels like the Super Bowl already. I'm pumped for this. And it is a big pleasure of mine to have Steve James joining the show today to talk Buffs, to preview the matchup that we got going on, to talk greater college football. So I'm going to welcome him on the show here in just a minute. But before that, please be sure to hit that like. Let me know in the comments who's checking this out, because it's going to help spread this out to other college football fans, other Buffs fans. And as always, feel free to let me know your thoughts as we get the discussion started. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Steve on to the show. Steve, how's it going? Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, man, David, it's great to meet you. Great to be on. You know what? The game is around. It's just going to be tomorrow in the morning. And I cannot wait for that game to get going.
Man, yeah, it feels like Christmas is finally here. And yeah, I'm thankful to have you on here for our Christmas Eve, in a sense, of the college football season getting started. Would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience here. I would love to know a little bit about you and what got you inspired to start your channel here on YouTube titled The Go Route.
Yeah, no problem, David. So pretty much myself, lifelong CU Buff fan. I remember watching the games when I was a kid, when it comes to the 1990 National Championship game, seeing Michael Westbrook, seeing Cordell Stewart, Eric Bieniemy, all of our great players we had going up against Notre Dame, Michigan, the Hail Mary. Honestly, just a lifelong fan, always loved the team. So excited for this team to have a resurgence with Coach Prime. Since December of 2022, it's just been a whirlwind of, just changes and just awesome, changes happening in Boulder, so we can actually see our lovely, awesome program come from the ashes and just rise like the Phoenix. That is something that I just cannot wait. And to continue to keep talking about here in 2023, season goes along, is, this team, what to expect, how the team does when it comes to weekly stuff. And I'm all about CU football. I'm all about college football. So let's get going. And I'm here to, talk and, enjoy football.
Man, yes to all of that. And I'm pumped you're on YouTube, man, because everybody, y'all go subscribe to the Go Route. Y'all go support Steve, because he's just getting started now, but he is very good at this. He's got radio quality voice, and his points that he lays out, it's just all very professionally done. David talks Buffs, it's a little bit more unrefined, off the cuff. Steve, like, you just provide everything's just very concise, thoughtful. You have a voice and a presentation that's very easily to just get into and enjoy. So thank you for doing that. And yeah, I want to hear your thoughts, man, with this matchup coming up. I know you posted a really wonderful in-depth breakdown of your preview for the game tomorrow, but let's just start from a high level view of tomorrow's matchup. What are you looking for? What are you expecting?
The best thing to say is that expect the unexpected. Honestly, I had just a dream last night of what if CU gets the ball first on a kickoff, and you see Edwards or Horn running back for a touchdown the first play. My mind will explode if that happens. But you don't know. You don't know what to expect. We have no idea what CU's team makeup is going to be. You have an idea of skill sets, receivers, running back, quarterback, of course, and you know what to expect in certain areas. But until they line up and play that game, we don't know. We don't know. And TCU I think if they were returning the same starters as last year's runner-up national championship team, we would have a better idea of what to expect, But since they've lost their starting quarterback, they've lost their, their bell cows at running back, they've lost their, their receivers are all gone in the NFL drafts. They've got a lot of, guys that are going to be able to, hopefully produce for them, but they're unproven. Chandler Morris was, we saw a sample surveying in 2020, a little bit in 2021 before he got injured in that first game against CU. But, from what I know, Chandler Morris, he is accurate. He stays in that pocket. He's willing to get hit. And he's a really solid quarterback. But, we just don't know what to expect. And it's something to where, again, I hope it's just close. I just want the game to be close. And as long as we can get it to the fourth quarter and just, make it be anyone's game, that's all I want. I just don't want a blowout, but I want it to be competitive. But like I said, you don't know what to expect. I'm hoping for the kickoff return for a touchdown, but who knows? So,
yeah, I think the way that you open that up, saying expect the unexpected, I feel like I'm going in with an idea of what I hope happens. I feel like we'll see this team. One thing that I am expecting is that regardless of if we're ahead or if we're behind, this team isn't going to mentally check out. That is something that I'm going to be expecting. Because again, yeah, this as a lifelong Buffs fan, we've seen too many times where we've seen previous teams just check out immediately once some adversity is faced. And I'm really hoping that this team not only sets the tone, if we're looking at it from a fighting perspective, has an active jab that's moving around, that's that's standing in the center of the octagon, so to speak. But when we take a punch, because TCU is going to give us some punches, we take that and we counter, even harder. So I just can't wait. I feel like time is flying, but at the same time, man, we just haven't.
Since that Nebraska game last night, I just couldn't wait for CU to hit the field in TCU in Fort Worth. Just waiting for our team to get a chance to hit that field and to be on Big Noon and Fox on kickoff, Big Noon kickoff. Just like, when is our turn? Can we go? I want to play now. I want to watch my team now play.
Yes.
I did savor that loss a little bit last night, just a little bit. I didn't want to savor too much, but I as the day has gone on, I've seen more tweets go out. I'm just like, you guys are making this way too easy. I got to chime in now. I'm going to start tweeting out some comments because it felt like the Nebraska world came crashing down last night. I'm like, it's one game. But hey, if you guys want to make our game, your marquee game, you want to put up a lot of points against us, that's fine. But you got to score more than 10. You score more than 10, you might have a chance. So it's amped up. Things are getting amped up right now.
Oh, man, yeah, like I said, man, it feels like a Super Bowl. It feels like a championship. Al Love saying that he's talked with Shador, Deion Jr., Rick George, and Troy Aikman. Like, everybody's going to be there tomorrow. We're going to see a ton of different legendary sightings at the game, man. I'm pumped. To get back into previewing TCU a little bit, you alluded to Chandler Morris. I think it's safe to say he's a better quarterback than Jeff Sims. But ultimately, I think the name of the game, or like how I'm approaching this, like if I was coaching, I would just want to stack the box, make sure we stop the run, and make Chandler Morris have to beat this Buff secondary. What are your thoughts in terms of defensive strategy, for the Buffs attacking this TCU offense?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, he may have only Chandler Morris. He may have only started, a couple games in 2020, and like that that part of that game in 2021. But he's got experience. He's seen a lot. He went in that Baylor game, I think, in 2020 and put up some insane numbers off the bench. So I honestly believe Chandler Morris does have moxie. He does have the ability to be a gamer. Where I saw his inefficiencies when I saw his tape was going to be in the short throws. Okay. He seems to get a little bit kind of sloppy with his footwork. He seems to forget. And he seems to throw some balls into coverage. And his deep ball does not have a lot of velocity, like I explained in my video, I think yesterday or the day before that. So I think if we have really good corners, we have really good back end, we have really good safeties at Colorado now here in 2023. So if he does try to go down the field or go crossing routes and get some safeties, the talent level for CU is high, and they might be there to take that ball from him. So honestly, if I had to guess, I would expect a lot of run from TCU. That was their bread and butter last year with Miller and DeMercado, two studs. I think they're going to go back to that well and just run it, and then the run's going to set up the pass, and then they're going to go ahead and see if they can get CU to cheat towards the line and see if, hey, you think you're going to run it, now we're going to pass it. The difference is that CU's back end is way more talented than it was in last year's game.
Oh yeah.
So because of that, scheme is going to then play and factor that. And honestly, I will take Kelly's scheme from Alabama, his assistant D coordinator, any day of the week. So I think staff-wise and skill-wise, we are now better match for match this year, but they are going to run it down our throats. Try to. The question is, how do they respond? How do they respond? I think they're going to be able to pick up the pace fast and adjust quickly. That's where the chess match is going to begin, because if they can stop the run, the pass game becomes the next block for them to stop. It's hard to say because we have some good guesses what to expect, but then you just don't know because there's so many new players on offense. And Shedeur Sanders, even if you look at the Jackson State tape from with Shedeur and Travis Hunter, it doesn't matter who the opponent was. They were going to continue to throw it downfield and get Travis Hunter his catches. And they're going to make sure they get the ball in there because they know Travis can catch the ball. So offensively, I'm not too worried because I think they have a lot of skill at the wide receiver and also at the running back position to make it work. And with Coach Lewis and his RPO offense at Kent State, I'm excited to see this offense go. I'm excited to see this offense, kick it in gear and just, no huddle and just go and, score quickly and then get the ball back on defense and hopefully create some turnovers. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of unknowns, but we have some general baselines, what to expect. That's just my 2 cents. So,
totally. Yeah, I think if there's one thing or if there's a couple position groups that I feel really good about, it's the secondary. Our ability to cover those guys. I mean, if Cormani is going to be like our third or fourth guy for this game, as he gets ramped up to, I think Nicholas Braxton, you've said this before, you think he'll be starting here in just a few weeks. I think the other guys that we got, including true freshman Carter Stoutmeyer, they should not be slept on. And, Travis Hunter is going to be able to lock down one side of the field. And really, it's going to come down to what the defensive line is doing. They do have at TCU, they got some big boys. They got some serious beef up front. Right now, kind of what are you expecting right now from our defensive line?
You know what? I think the biggest thing which has been spoken about in a lot of different, CU content, it's depth. Depth is where CU is going to have the most inefficiencies when it comes to, hey, who's next up after our starting D line goes in. And it's a thin rotation. A lot of those guys are going to have to go ahead and be ready to go in, play second, play first, play second, play third down, and then kind of go from there. Depth is always going to be an issue with the CU team because, there isn't a lot of all of Coach Prime's guys are here. He did enough to go ahead and to make the team better from what it was last year. And last year, the team was atrocious. So right now the team is more well-suited to take on a college football game, but you need to give Coach Deion at least 2 more years to create some more depth behind our starters. And then beyond that, they should be good. But that's the key thing. So who's going to come in to relieve those guys? And then are they as good as the talent that was on the field? That we don't know. Hopefully there are some gems out there, some diamonds in the rough on the D-line that we don't know about, and they can actually make this work. And that applies to the O-line, and that applies to the D-line, also to the O-line as well. Those two, the line of scrimmage is where we need more depth. And that is where, if you have an 8-play series or 12 play series, defense needs to rotate out, then we may see some where CU may not be as good in those areas, and then we may give up some big yards. But honestly, I'd rather go ahead and just give it to Shedeur, give it to Travis, give it to Edwards. Say, hey, dude, we're down by another 7. Go out there, put up more points. Use Sean Lewis's offense, and let's just crank this offense up. Let's just go. To me, it was so hard to score last year. It was so hard for the offense to move. I honestly just I feel like I'm eager to see an offense actually put up points and just go and just put points down other opponents' throats and say, hey, we just put 14 on you. You put 7 on us. Well, we're going to put 14 on you, and just play that game. It's a risky game to play, but honestly, let's take the chance. Let's just go. Let's put up points and let's just be better than last year. That's all I got to say.
Yes,
that's it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And being a Colorado sports fan, I mean, just like I know. I mean, not only have we been watching CU's offense for however many years, we've also been watching Denver Broncos offense, and it's just I'm looking so forward to seeing a competent offense with a real methodology in play calling, talent to surround that, and then the biggest thing is just having a quarterback that what I believe is extremely talented for the level. We haven't exactly had that with the Broncos or CU until now. We got Shedeur Sanders, where if we need to go put up points, he's one of the few guys in college football, I think, that you feel really good about. If you need to go score points, having him behind center is huge. I think one other thing that I'm looking forward or just curious about is I feel good about our tackles. Feel good about Tank out there at the left tackle. I feel good about sy'veon Washington at the right tackle. I think like Van Wells. I'm excited to see what he's going to do now with an offseason of real coaching and intense strength and conditioning here that we have. Really, the biggest question mark is at the guard position with Tyler Brown out. That's going to be Jack Bailey, Jack Wilty, Landon Beebe, some sort of combination of those guys. Right now, what's your opinion on the offensive line and kind of for these first few games?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you always need a good left tackle. Always a good left tackle is always a solid, piece of your O-line. And the other guys are great, and I've been watching them through different media outlets like Well Off Media, Reach the People Media, the Pregame, DNVR, Buffs. The content is insane. What's out there, access you get, not so much to the plays and what they're going to call in a game, but just to the players and their personality and stuff like that, and how they're all meshing. But to me, it's about like how we don't know how good these players are as a cohesive unit. As we all know, an offensive line have got to move together. They have to know, their left hand and their right hand. They have to know where their other guard and their also tackle are going to be and their center is going to be when they move around. I know these guys don't have a lot of playing time in a game together. That is kind of where we need that. We need to see that. But as long as we have Tank at LT, left tackle, to protect our quarterback, I am perfectly fine. We do still run across the same thing of depth, but honestly, who cares? Just play, line up, get your best 5 guys on O-line, let them play. We all hope cross our fingers that no one gets injured, no one has any ailments or has sicknesses. But at this point on, let's just go ahead and play football and let's just see what we got. So
yes, absolutely. I'm hoping that we inflict pain on that offensive line and on the defense, that TCU wakes up on Sunday morning feeling sore as hell. And because that was the other thing. It's like every time that, like, so many times we've seen teams come in here and not have to give it their all because the game is over by halftime.
And there was something to chime in here for a second. I know this is going back a couple weeks. Nothing recently, like on I think the Well Off Media YouTube channel with Deion Sanders Jr. There was a couple moments where behind the scenes where you saw the D line trying to amp up the O line. The D line is saying, "Hey, like, I need you guys on point. I need you guys ready for this game." I don't know who motivated the D line to start getting the O line's face, but the way Warren Sapp said it recently when he was at CU bus practice facility, saying that, hey, in practice, you guys are not friends. You guys are enemies. You guys are trying to, sharpen each other, sharpen your tools. But when game day comes, you put on the same uniform. You guys are one cohesive unit to go out there and kick butt. So grind and then practice, but let's go on let's all go on the field. Let's put the work out there. So I think it was good to see the D line trying to get in the O line's ear and trying to tell them, hey, I'm better than you. And they're trying to get the O line up to speed more, trying to get them, galvanize them to go ahead and say, hey, meet us where we need to go because I need you ready when we play TCU, Nebraska, Colorado State, Oregon, USC. I mean, don't get me wrong. The schedule CU has is a gauntlet. But who cares? Let's beat everybody. Let's go 12-0. How about that? My prediction 12-0. There we go.
Let's go. Yeah, 12-0 till we ain't.
12 pretty much.
I love it, man. And that's really interesting because I didn't catch that D line challenging the O line to step it up in intensity. That doesn't surprise me from some of the personalities that we've seen on the defensive line. And that's what I'm hoping that, even if we're not the biggest defensive line unit, like let's take Bishop Thomas. Like he's not a 350-pound guy, but that guy's got power. He's got dog in him. And I'm hoping that, again, like there's a mental aspect, to football that I think is so overlooked. Is that usually when you're winning these matchups, it's not just based on physicality, but you're mentally wearing out the other guy to get to quit first. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing that I really want to see going into tomorrow is just seeing us fight, seeing us not give up, and, being there to like establish dominance. Like that's what I've loved so much about this whole talk that the coaching staff has brought in here from day one. It's not just to win, but it's to do it in a fashion in which you're dominating, you're inflicting pain. You're really like not there to win. You're really there to like kick ass. And that's something that like, we just haven't heard that talked about for so long.
Yeah. And not to, jump on the Darrell, heap here, but honestly, I mean, I have a feeling that his team was a reflection of who he was as a coach, and which is fine. I mean, Darrell was given a bad hand. Also, was Rick George when Midnight Mel left to go to Michigan State. It wasn't they put together what they could to keep the players together and get a football program going, and that was a reflection of Darrell. Nothing against him as a person, but I think as a coach, he didn't know how to get his team ready to go and get them on the field to say, hey, we're down by 7. It's the first quarter. Let's go ahead and let's gear up. Let's go. Let's get grinding again. Instead of just saying, hey, go out there and do your best. It's like, well, okay, that's great, but I want to go out there and win, coach. So can you give me some more motivation besides just win? And it's a factor of, if you compare Darrell to Prime, I have more faith in Prime leading our young men at CU through all 4 quarters of the phase and never letting them know, hey, you're never out of this game. Go out there, put out your best effort. We may be down by 20 points in the 4th quarter, but I want you to go out there and grind. Yeah. And if you come back in the 4th quarter, at that moment in time, epic. Yeah. But if you put up, 48 points, hey, go pull up a lounger, go sit in the 4th quarter because you just put a 48. It just, get on your guys, reward your guys, but let's go play football at a high level. And I remember from Coach Prime's introduction speech at CU back in December, he told Rick George and the CU alumni there in that press conference that, now that I see you, now that I'm here, I see what you need. All you want is a chance to win, a chance to compete, a chance to go ahead and to be amongst the best. And he said, well, gosh darn it, I'm going to do that for you. And that's all I have ever wanted. That's it.
Yes.
And I'm glad that he understood that and he saw that so quickly so he can execute his plan. And now we're seeing his plan come into life now.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't have put it any better. And I think that, again, I think a lot of what's talked about Coach Prime, of course, has to go with with him being such a motivator, being such a charismatic personality. But the man knows football. He knows what a damn good practice looks like. He knows what a good offense looks like. He knows what he knows what everything needs to look like because of his extensive career and experience. And I think that that is something, like, he's been to the promised land. He talks about this all the time. He's like, I've accomplished everything I've needed to accomplish in my career. He knows what it looks like. And in the past, with certain teams, we've been led by staffs that haven't exactly ever reached that mountaintop. They don't know what it looks like. They don't know how to get there. And that's a huge difference. I think the coaching, even from Coach Prime down, it's going to keep teams, it's going to keep us in games. It's going to keep us competitive. And man, I just can't wait to see it on the field. So I want to talk a little bit more about the game.
Yeah, no worries.
Give me a couple, maybe like one on offense, one on defense. Hell, even put special teams on there. So maybe we do 3.
Okay. Sure.
Give me like your X factors, or like guys that you're looking to have an impact on the game.
You know what? Cavassier Smoke. That's my dude. That's my dude from Kentucky. And that guy's got moxie. He's got probably the most. He's most amount of talent from the SEC from Kentucky. Just from last year's production, he's the most healthy. I know he's behind probably. It's probably sharing running back by committee with Edwards and Hankerson and McCaskill, and then also with Smoke. But I mean, I would love to have a guy named Smoke running for 100 yards every game, just to say Smoke ran it for 80 on a clip. That's my guy. When it comes to defense, I'm going to go to Shiloh. Okay. Shiloh is a guy that, doesn't really talk much, doesn't chirp too much. No. But when we haven't seen him in the game time. I mean, I haven't looked at his South Carolina tape when he was over there, but I'm curious to see him alongside Trevor Woods and to see, how they get along. I know in their press conference they've had with each other at different times, saying that they're meshing really well. Their communication is great, and they're able to know what the other one is thinking before the other one does it. So that's good to see in a very short time. But Shiloh, I just want to see, what his ceiling is, and have we seen it yet? And is there another level, another gear that he can hit here in Colorado? And can he be a mirror image of what his dad was in that position, in a safe position? So we don't know, but I would love to see him excel immensely here at Colorado. And then special teams, oh man, I got to go with my kicker, man. I think it's going to be Feely starting for Colorado. Dude has the leg, dude has the pedigree. And I believe that when we lost, I forgot the kicker we lost to Utah. He was a Colorado guy, and he went to he's a Buff, went to Utah. But when he came in, Feely came in right after that. I was like, okay, cool. I was like worried for like a day. And then I saw we got Feely. I was like, oh, okay, we're good. We're solid. Okay, kicking's good.
Yeah. Definitely.
How about yourself?
Yeah, well, first off, I want to comment too, because this is something that I forget about, but you reminded me of it with your Cavassier Smoke X Factor, is that I think we're expecting to see Alt McCaskill, tomorrow, but again, still coming off that knee injury. I'm not worried about a long term or anything like that, but again, just getting back up to speed because he's been out of football for a while. That might be something too, that maybe we're not giving him as many carries tomorrow as maybe we are in 4 weeks, and this is really an opportunity, like you said, for a guy like Smoke to really leave a substantial impact on the game, because, I think we'll be using Dylan Edwards a good amount tomorrow. But again, true freshman playing in his first game, you're not going to be giving him workhorse level work or anything like that. And you're right. This is the opportunity for, this team, for Smoke to dominate, to leave his mark on the game. So I want to say that I think that's a great, call on X Factor. In terms of defense too, I think you're totally right about Shiloh. Bill Carroll, who I've had on the show a couple times, NFL draft scout, he's actually said that, he thinks Shiloh's a very good player that could leave for the NFL after this year. He said he would not be surprised if he were to do that. Now, I personally don't think so. I think that the Sanders family probably wants to just keep this thing together for as long as it can go, which would be the 2 years, because they both have eligibility. We'll have to see. And then, with the kicking game, I do think we're going to roll out with Jace there, but I could very well be wrong. Al Love's coming in here with a prediction saying that he thinks Mata, could hit that game-winning field goal there, 38-35 Buffs. That would be great. And he's a kicker, that I think he kicked 100% last year at Jackson State. So we'll just have to see. I do have expectation, though, for special teams surely we kick better or block better than we did during the spring game, right? That has to happen. It has to, right?
Yeah, I was there. Were you there? I was there.
I was there.
Yeah, I was there, and I was. It was an interesting situation of how the whole thing was going. Like, kickoff return and then kicking games and missing in between. I was like, man, I hope we score touchdowns. Lots and lots of touchdowns, because the kicking game was definitely was very, very curious how that all was going in the spring game. So that I agree. And Mata, I like Mata, I really do. I'm just like he's a good backup, but honestly, there may be time. I think Coach Prime said in a press conference this week saying that, hey, there may be a moment where I feel Mata is better at this, hash mark as opposed to this hash mark. Maybe Feely's better at the straight ahead. So it's going to be maybe a case by case. So just because Feely has the leg and is probably could be the starter going into the game one, you may see Mata come in at certain moments and times when he can have a little more specialty to it. Beyond that, it's kicking game is, as long as you score touchdowns and don't score field goals, I'm happy. I'd rather put up 6 and get an easy, point after kick, and opposed to trying to kick a 50-yarder. Because every time I see a kicker line up for a 40 plus, I just cringe. I'm like, oh man, is there wind? Are they in the left hash, right hash? Are they? I'm like, oh man, this is I can't watch.
Oh yeah, no, you bring up great points. I want to see us score points, score touchdowns, not have to rely on a kicker by committee. I feel like that's the first time I've ever considered that. And that's really interesting that you brought up that point about maybe there are certain distances and situations where you prefer one over the other. In terms of my X factors, I talked about this, I think maybe in a live stream. This week has just been a blur for me. My X factor, somebody asked me this in the comments, what mine were. So I went with offense. I went with tight end Michael Harrison. Really excited to see
87, right?
Yes, I'm really excited to see just how the heck this tight end position is going to be utilized, because we really don't know. We have some idea of what Sean Lewis has done in the past, but this is a whole new team. We got a whole bunch of new players coming in. Harrison was a walk-on wide receiver previously, so this is just something that is new to him as well. And I don't know if Passarello is going to play. I don't know if Caleb Fourier is going to play, with them both battling, whether it's injuries or sickness. That's going to be interesting. So Michael Harrison, I think he could get some licks.
Okay.
Yeah, he could get some looks with that talented TCU secondary, focusing on all the wide receivers that we have. Maybe he can get downfield, get open. People forget about him, right? On defense, again, I had to go with, a David Talks Buffs, my guy. Just ordered his jersey a couple days ago, being the first one in the
Stoudemire.
Coach Prime. Yes, era Carter Stoudemire. Man, I'm pumped for him. And I was very excited for him when he committed here. And I expected him to get on the field and play. I have to say, I did not even expect him to be in the position to where he would be considered right now to be starting as a true freshman in his first game. And I think that just speaks to the amount of work and preparation that he's put in. I'm very excited for him. And then on special teams, just the returning. I'm excited to see special teams with a returning, whether that is Dylan Edwards or a returning group, whether it's Dylan Edwards or Tavares Dawson, just seeing guys who have the ability to break the game wide open. I mean, we haven't really had that.
Yeah,
You know,
Edwards
yeah,
has a gear that I've never seen before, probably in a long time in a CU Buff player. He hits, makes one move, two moves, and then he's just gone.
yeah,
And it's something to where, if he is able to take a ball on a kickoff, like maybe tomorrow, take it on the kickoff, takes it, makes one guy miss, two guy misses, and that point on, he's gone. This team at the skill position has never been more talented than it is right now.
right.
And I'm hoping that can lead them in this 2023 season. And then everything else can kind of, depth and all that can kind of figure itself out in the next year or two. So we know that, hey, if A guy goes down, then B guy is just as good. And then kind of like what Alabama does, A&M does, when one guy goes down, like, oh no, their season's over. I'm like, nope, they got a guy who's on the bench who's a 5-star out of Texas who's going to come in and just go ballistic. Like, oh, well, they're fine. Like, so we need depth, so we don't have any drop off. I mean, if right now, since it's so fresh and so new, this season's about to kick off here at 11 o'clock Mountain Time, Central Time. I think it's 12. I'm just excited. I mean, after seeing last night's game and getting amped up for football,
Yes.
and just seeing teams get ready, and then smack being talked on Twitter today. Hey, your team did this, and can't wait to see you in a week. I'm like, that's great. You lost. We have a chance to win. It's all good stuff, and I'm glad that football is back here in 2023 because without it, football is just a necessity. So.
Yes, we're finally here. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about last night. I know that one of our regulars, Arizona State commenter, Keck, they played last night. We saw Utah play last night. Of course, we saw Minnesota and Nebraska play yesterday. Yeah, I would love to just hear a little bit more on your thoughts. And maybe then at the end, we can talk a little bit maybe about the ACC. But let's see how this goes.
There we go. Utah Utes look amazing. Utah Utes look strong. Florida Gators look pretty. Oh man, they have some issues. The Florida Gators have a lot of things to figure out. They're going to have to figure out who is going to be able to step up to the plate. I think they thought they had guys who could step up in that game, and they all just kind of didn't, shine in the moment. So Utah took advantage of it and just, went all over them. I didn't watch the UConn game. I only watched pretty much the Utah Utes and the Florida and the Minnesota and Nebraska game. So what other games were on last night besides those two?
Man, well, I actually went to the School of Mines game out here because they were ranked Division II. I had a friend that just lives out in Golden, so he's like, "Come to this game with me," because they're playing number 2 Grand Valley State. And School of Mines was in the title game, national title last year. So it was a close game. We actually left right before the big 21-point comeback happened, but School of Mines still got the win. It was great. It was a great atmosphere for a small stadium, but kept up with Florida and Utah. Again, they look like the favorites, I feel, to win the conference for a third straight year. People just forget about them because USC and Oregon are a lot shinier of programs, but they looked great, and Florida, man, I feel bad for those fans because, I mean, if you paid attention to what Mertz was doing at Wisconsin, it just wasn't anything to get that excited about. And I mean, you saw that they had trouble moving the ball, but man, caught the second half, a lot of the second half of the Nebraska Cornhuskers Minnesota game, and it was lovely. I just have to say, it was awesome. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that matchup yesterday?
The Minnesota Nebraska. I mean, I watched all 4 quarters. I was glued to that TV, just because I'm interested in a little bit in Big Ten football because it is the echelon teams and gets the most coverage out of any other conference. You know what? I mean, it was a good team, and I thought Minnesota. I think CU played them a couple of years ago. They were solid. Yeah, Minnesota's a great team. They're stout on defense, and they're coached great by PJ Fleck. Great team. If Minnesota was in a lower tier conference, let's say the Mountain West or the AAC, they would lead that conference. But because they're in the Big Ten with other high power, universities, they kind of get lost in the shuffle. Last night's game is kind of what I expect. Nebraska plays, 3.5 quarters of football, and they forget the last half of the fourth quarter. And then it just kind of happens. And I was waiting for it to happen, honestly. And then it happened, and I was like, okay, that seems pretty much par for course. So it's fine. Their fan base, I love their fan base. I have a couple good friends that are Nebraska fans, and honestly, it's okay. They're going to come here next week. And they're going to be loud. They're going to be red. They're going to be very vocal about, hey, we're the best program ever, and like, that's great. That's fine. But it's something to where I love that rivalry. I love you, Nebraska fans. I love you. I want us to play each other every year for eternity, and to play each other back and forth in Lincoln, in Folsom, and back to Lincoln, back to Folsom. Let's just get that trend going. No matter what conference we're in, let's play each other every year. But it's a love-hate relationship, a little more on the hate side than love. But I took no happiness in them losing, but I also know with them losing in this last night's game, they're going to be ready to rock and roll coming to Folsom in next week's game. Yeah. Because if they go down 0-2 with Mike Rules, our new coach, that fan base is just going to start, having they're going to copy and paste their Scott Frost tweets from years back, and then like, oh, this is the same thing. It's like, guys, just give your coach some time. But I love my Nebraska fans, so I love the rivalry. So
I love the rivalry. I'm glad that it is as relevant as ever right now. In a sense, this is just the primer for what's really going on next Saturday. That I don't care really what happens the rest of the season. It's all just gravy on top of making sure we take care of business next week, right, against Nebraska. And I want to hit on this too. Yeah. John from Buffson's Births hitting on this. He was actually at the Arizona State game yesterday with them taking on Southern Utah. And, their program's in kind of a flux right now, big rebuild. And they got the win. They got the job done against Southern Utah yesterday, was a close one, but it was a close one. So I'm expecting the Buffs to be a handful for Arizona State when we face them later in the year. But man, you're totally right. It feels amazing to be playing relevant football, and it's great to just have dialogue. Like Buffs Twitter, it's like a thing you want to go on and see, or Buffs X. That's what we're calling it now.
Yeah, X now, yeah.
Yeah, it's great to just be on, like to have an active community, to be talking, to be going back and forth with fans. But man, I got to say it, man, with, it's got to be disheartening as Cornhuskers fans to just see that there really wasn't an improvement from the quarterback position. You were hoping to see Jeff Sims kind of unlocked a little bit. I've kind of felt that he was maybe held back a little bit at Georgia Tech, but that's just not a sustainable method to winning in 2023. Where
he kept running. I just kind of kept thinking back in my mind. I kind of said to myself, like, if he keeps running, he's gonna get hit hard by a linebacker or a safety, and he's gonna regret running that, trying to get into traffic and trying to look for contact. And that's kind of where, Shedeur Sanders kind of gets placed in that realm of, hey, like, he's a mobile quarterback. He's going to run too. I'm like, if you watch his Jackson State tape, he stays in that pocket. He doesn't move. His first option is not to run. He can move, but his first option is to hit is go through his reads and to make sure he hits them when they're open and see who's going to be the guy he wants to throw to. So, we're going to see everyone see kind of what we've been seeing with CU Buff content coming out, and see how good this team can be, led by Coach Prime and led by the offense, led by Shedeur. And for me, it really is like Christmas Eve. You are correct. You're waiting to get that first present, waiting to see what that next one's going to be. And once you have all your presents laid out, you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, I got some good stuff. Yeah, this is going to be a good year. this is going to be this is going to be something I'm going to be happy to have the rest of the year, and hopefully we can just build that into the next year, because this is a building process. I don't want people to think that this is something, oh, this team is who they are in 23 and that they're done. Like, no, like CU is coming back. We were dominant in the 90s, won the national championship in 1990. We are coming back. If Coach Prime wants to take us there, and that is his motivation to take us there, then we're going to slowly build this, and we're going to go ahead and, hopefully get to that level again when we can compete at that high level and play those teams that are there. I don't care if it's Alabama. I don't care if it's Florida. I don't care if it's Ohio State, Michigan. I just want those teams to know that if Coach Prime leads us, I'm willing to get on board, and let's go play with the big boys. And it's going to take time, but I'm going to enjoy every minute of that ride as we get there.
Man, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, this is going to be a journey. This is going to be, a building process. We're 12-0 till we ain't, but there's going to be some ups and downs with all this, but I think I'm looking for this team to be competitive, for us to be in games. I've gone on record with my channel saying, I'm going to go ahead and predict 8 games, 8 wins. Why not? There are at least 4 or 5 teams that I feel like we should handle business. And, maybe you could chalk it up to being a naturally optimistic person or whatever. But I think, okay, well, if that's our base, let's see where we can go. But at the end of the day, this year is going to be just setting up for what I do have legitimate expectations for, having another year of recruiting, another year of Shador, everybody in 2024. I'm expecting them to make some serious noise in the Big 12. So I want to hear kind of your take. If you have a prediction for tomorrow, give it to me. If not, what is a successful season for the Buffs in your perspective?
I think if they can just get to 6-6, get to a bowl game, I think that is leaps and bounds success. Anything under, I'm okay with. Anything over, heck yeah, I'm there with the party hat on. It just, I think 6-6 is realistic, and that's something we can aim for. I think there are 6 games in the schedule. You can stay in, be competitive, stay into the fourth quarter. Then it's any man's game at that point on. I think there'll be some games where there'll be some talent that they'll have more than us, or maybe we'll have some injuries that we won't be able to come back from. You hope, I'm going to knock on some wood, we don't want any injuries in CU Buff. But things can happen. So I think 6-6 is just being, fair to Coach Prime and to those players. Anything under, like I said, cool, that's fine. I'm okay with anything under, because I know what the future is holding for Colorado, and I know what Coach Prime is not going to sleep in the future until this team is, at that level, because I'm sure that's what he wants, and that's why Rick George brought him in here to go ahead and say, hey, this is your team. Here are the keys to the car. Go ahead and do whatever you want. Here's a checkbook. I'm going to help you do whatever you need at this point on. Hey, you want to go to the Big 12? Hey, here you go. Here's the Big 12. Here's more money, more revenue. Go do what you want. And it's great. Let's just keep feeding this system, and let's just help Coach Prime and the Buffs to let him know, like, hey, we're on board. We're behind you. We're going to sell out all the home games. We're going to sell out the spring game. We're here to support you. We're here. Know that. And let's just go ahead and, produce the best we can on the field. But we're in it for the long haul as CU Buff fans. And we're not going to expect instant, eggs with this situation. We want this a slow burn. If it goes faster, awesome. If it goes the speed that we thought it would, I'm okay with that. So
yeah. Oh yeah. I continue to give Prime whatever the resources he needs. Personally, I hate baseball. It's boring. It's hard for me to watch. But if Coach Prime wants a baseball team here at CU, I'm all for it, man. I will do it. Let's just give him everything he needs to be successful and happy. And at the end of the day, man, this program is, I mean, the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit, and we get to see the baseline of where we're beginning tomorrow, and I couldn't be more thrilled for it. If you got a few more minutes, Steve, I would love to just talk a little bit more about this ACC stuff. Do you have like 5-10 more minutes?
Yeah, I got the time you need, man. Go for it.
Okay, perfect. Before I dive into this, y'all got 73 people liking or watching. I really appreciate that. Be sure to hit that like. And again, please go subscribe to Steve James, coming out with really high quality Buffs content. Link to his channel, The Go Route, is in the description of this. So yeah, would really just appreciate it. He definitely needs more like subscribers, man. His content's too good. So this is just the beginning. But yeah, let's talk about this. Cal, Stanford, and everybody wants to hate on SMU. I'm all for it, man. But I want to hear your thoughts right now on conference realignment, the ACC, all that.
Yeah, you know what? When UCLA and USC went to the Big Ten, I was like, you know what? There's no team in any part of the country that's fair game now. If the Rutgers is willing to go to Southern Cali to play a game, then no team is safe anywhere in any conference. So to see, Pacific schools play in the Atlantic, if you would have told me this 4 years ago, I'd be like, that's crazy talk. But now here in 2023, it's not crazy. And it's a matter of ACC is on the precipice of losing, some schools. And I have a firm belief that those schools that want to leave the ACC are going to find a way to get it done. So this is just the ACC, as we all know, reading information today online and through Twitter saying ACC is just trying to stockpile Power 5 schools so that they don't have to renegotiate with ESPN if they drop below a certain school limit. And so this is them just piling quantity as opposed to, hey, we want to pick and choose from the Big 12 or the Big 10 or the, AAC. They just want some product there. And if you want SMU to come and just give up 7 years of, revenue because they're alumni and their base can actually pay for, that, and the SMU just wants to be in a Power 5 conference, good on them. Hey, you guys want to do it? Go for it. Cal and Stanford, man, that's a hard one because they're such good academic schools, but their football programs are really dismal. And you want them to be relevant, but they also have to want to be relevant. And if they want to be competitive in today's day and age, they do the same things that CU did. CU was at 111, bottom of the barrel, had no future of any sorts. They had an athletic director and a president who was like, we need to kick this in high gear because we're about to be left behind. So they decided to make some big, gambles. Go after a guy from HBCU, guy who has no Power 5 experience, but that he's going to generate interest and get you recruits that are going to go ahead and help you in the future. So you got to take some chances. And if Stanford and Cal are willing just to sit there and just say, hey, we are who we are, so you should just take us. Honestly, that's not how it works here in 2023. Nope. And you have to bring something to the table for them to want to bring you along. And I'm happy for those schools to be in another conference. Who I feel bad for are Oregon State and Washington State. Yeah. These are two schools that have epic fan bases, and Oregon State has an epic football team from last year. So they need to be somewhere, but just based on geographic and based on, them just being left down the shuffle, they're gonna get relegated to a Mount West or some kind of combination of the Pac-2 and the Mount West and the AAC are going to become some merged of a conference. People are going to leave the AAC. So there's a lot going on there. I, for one, am just happy that CU made that first jump and was like, hey, we're out of here. This isn't working out. We're going to go ahead and actually jump to Big 12. We're taking that raft and we're going to ride with our Texas schools, our Kansas State schools, our Iowa schools, our East Coast schools, and our Four Corner schools. This is where we want to be. I want to be with Brett Yormark. I want to be with a conference that's leading the future and guiding us, as opposed to George K, who is interesting, and who is a guy who just doesn't know football in 2023, and that is why the Pac-12 didn't make it. And I'm, for one, happy to be in a conference that actually does, enjoy football and knows how to, do football here in 2023.
Oh man, yes, yes, yes. Even from just me being a fan, not even having to like think about like missing out on the next, era of college football.
Yeah.
It's thrilling and it's relieving at the same time. And yeah, like Oregon State, Washington State, it sucks, man, because they did everything right in terms of what was in their control. But I'm going to be rooting for Oregon State if CU doesn't get to the title game. I do have $1, by the way, on them to get to the title game, and it pays out, I think, like $76. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, like I'm going to be rooting for Oregon State to win this conference. It's not a better, like there is no better FU to everybody than to just go out, win the last year of the Pac-12, and then, enjoy their dominance in probably what is the Mountain West or whatever it is.
Yeah, right.
I'm pumped for it. But in terms of SMU, man, I want to talk about them a little bit because Big 12 fans hate SMU. They absolutely hate them. They think they're ridiculous. Yeah, are they arrogant? Do they have a bunch of a bunch of money and they want to swing it around and have a seat at the table? Absolutely. But here, with me, I love a good villain. And you could even say that maybe Colorado's starting to play the villain in some ways with how much they're disrupting the college football space, and I love it. And I think it's hilarious, and I think it's also badass. Having went to a smaller school for undergrad at Abilene Christian, when you have a school that says, you know what, screw it, we'll finance the football program ourselves with our oil money for the next 9 years, and we're going to come in and dominate, and it's our goal to dominate. I love it. And I mean, at the end of the day, man, they just got caught doing what every other school in the Southwest Conference was doing. They've been penalized for it for way too long, and they are due. They are due to have success, and I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see it, even if they have to pay the likes of, what is it, 40 million over 9 years. That's north of 350 million, right? That they're financing themselves.
Yeah.
That is just badass. That is
it's a move.
Badass.
It's a move, and it's a move where you would think that most universities would, and their alumni would be like, no, I'm not paying for your flights. I'm not paying for the meals for the players. SMU's like, just hold my beer for a second. I'm going to write this check right now. I'm going to go ahead and send it your way. They are setting, I mean, in 2023, and we move forward in these conferences and realignments as they all start getting realigned in 24 and 25. You're seeing some methods of, hey, like, I want to position our football team, our university in the right spot that's going to, generate more money, give us more eyes and whatnot. And nothing is off the table. Nothing is off the table to push your university and your alumni and your fan base in that direction. So SMU, hey, I agree. I mean, if you guys can do it, go for it. It's unorthodox, but what about college football in 2023 is, the norm. Everything's fluid. Everything's changing. Nothing is normal. You got, like I said, you got Rutgers going to play, USC. You've got now probably, Miami Hurricanes going to Silicon Valley. Nothing is normal anymore. No one plays in their region anymore. So if that's the case, heck, do what you want. If long as you don't get penalized by the NCAA, I don't care. Just let's just play football. Let's make football. Let's just make football relevant. And if it comes down to it goes from a Power 5 to a Power 4. To me, it's kind of like it is what it is. It's just the market just rebalancing itself a little bit. And if it becomes Power 3, then we're going to see another convergence of Big 12, ACC, and whatever the pack becomes. It's going to happen again. So right now it's all about just trying to have a seat at the table when with
Hmm.
this ever evolving college football playoff, and it's going to keep evolving every couple days, every couple of years,
Hmm.
because college football wants to be relevant and they want to stay new and fresh, so everyone has to keep up with them. And if you ain't keeping up, then you're just going to get left behind, and that's just how college football is moving forward. So
Yeah, absolutely. And to be in a conference with leadership that
yeah.
we trust, it's a huge deal. It is a huge deal. In terms of, I want to ask you about this. CU in the Big 12.
Hmm.
It's been talked about that they wouldn't do specifically pods, so like the same four teams or whatever always playing,
Okay.
but similar to the SEC where it's like you have three main opponents, and that could be different. Like Texas A&M might have some, two other different opponents than, for instance, UT would have. Um, if you could choose kind of three of those opponents that you would want to see CU playing at an every year basis, who would that be?
Oh, easy. For me, it's easy. I want to play Oklahoma State. I want to
Okay.
play Kansas State, and I want to play UCF. I want those schools. I remember CU had some really great games with Oklahoma State. Love those games. Love that stadium. Kansas State in that lovely. Do they still have turf or they have grass now? I can't. Back in the day, they had turf.
I
Um,
think they have grass. I think
Okay,
it's
they have
grass
grass
now.
now. Okay, but I love that. I love that. A lot of great memories of playing Kansas State. That is something I would love to see. And honestly, Orlando, UCF.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great hotbed for Coach Prime, his Florida guys. And if he can steal some guys out of Orlando and get those guys, hey, you can always come back home and see your family in Orlando. We're going to play him. And I think UCF, just with the similar colors that we're going to now rock here in 2024,
Hmm.
it's going to be the battle of the black, the gold, and the white. So we'll see who wears the best. And I think that will be a fun one. There's always people talk about like the West Virginia, like the John Denver Bowl. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to
That'd
play
be
new.
cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It's just gonna be fun to play new schools. The Pac-12 tried to push that Utah Utes rivalry on us when they first joined in 2011, and nothing against Utah. We just didn't. There was
We didn't
nothing
hold up
there.
our end of the bargain with that rivalry.
Yeah, that's probably why nothing happened from that. That's probably true. But I mean, I want to play the old Big 12 schools again, but also some new blood in there. So anyone who wants to come to the table, anyone wants to have an argument with us when it comes to the new Big 12 schools, I'm willing to have it. But I remember the old school OSU days and the KSU and the Kansas State days, and UCF. I would love to see that. But if anyone else wants to join in and start something, hey, I'm all for it. Because right now, jumping to a new conference with some of our old guys and some of our new teammates, let's just see who wants to spice things up, and let's find out who we need a rival, because we need a rival bad. I want a rival. So
Yes, we haven't had one in our existence in the Pac-12 just because we've been so bad. And man,
yeah.
I think the way that you put this earlier is just, college football. How'd you put it? You didn't say it was unorthodox. What'd you say it was?
College football it's just that it's an ever evolving thing, and just if you expect things to be the norm,
Yes.
then that's backwards thinking.
Yeah.
Because right now, nothing in college football. If you you have to think outside the box, and that's where Coach Prime, that's where Brett Yormark, that's where the Big Ten commissioner, the SC commissioner, they're like, hey, I'm going to grab Oklahoma and Texas just because I can. I'm going to grab UCLA and USC because I can.
Yes.
It's like, okay, well, you shouldn't do that. Well, I can, so I'm going to do it. It's because they're trying to help their product. So that's when you have, for example, Brett Yormark was like, well, I need to stabilize this conference for someone else gobbles us up. So they go ahead and say, hey, I'm bringing in Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston. And then they say, hey, well, we're not done yet. I need more guys. Let me go to the four corners. Let me get Colorado, Arizona State, Utah, and then just stabilizing the Big 12. Like I think you said, stabilizing. That's what we love to have here in 2023 for the Buffaloes. And we have that. And it's just going to be nice to be in that conference, to go up against some new teams go across the East Coast, but also to get Coach Prime back into Texas, get Coach Prime into Florida,
Yes.
because that is his hotbeds. That's where we need to get our Texas kids, our guys that are playing the South, and hey, let them know, hey, your parents can come see you in Houston, Oklahoma State, TCU, Fort Worth. They can see you in Florida, and that's just going to help Coach Prime recruit more and build this up even faster. And that's great, and that's great for college football, and that's great for CU. CU is striking the iron when it's hot, and they have the most momentum as of any other college football program right now here in 2023, and they're going to capitalize on that and catapult themselves as far as they can take them. And we just need the team to show up, play hard, like you said, and let's just see when everything's stacked, what it all looks like. And I think Saturday's game is going to give us a sample serving of what to expect. And then they're going to be throwing a bunch of stuff, and it's all about, hey, let's see what they do now. Let's see what this makeup of this team is going to be here in 23, and now we can set the stage for expectations. But it's just so exciting.
Yeah.
Football is back. College football is back. It's going to happen tomorrow. It's big noon kickoff on Fox. We're the only game on that slot on Fox, and everyone's going to see us around the world. And it's just going to be so many eyes. Just show up. Let's have fun. Let's show these new uniforms we're going to have. I've never seen this combination before in colors, but these uniforms should be epic from what I'm hearing. So.
Yes, coming out with personality. I love the idea. Hopefully this happens, that they get off the bus in shades. Again, you talk about reflecting the coach's personality. I want us to win, but I want us to do it with flair, with style, with personality, confidence. I mean, that's why I've loved, maybe you could call them the villains. That's why I love the villains of college football. That's why I loved watching the Miami Hurricanes growing up. That's why I love the idea of SMU coming back into relevance, because it's like, when I love that whole Pony Express documentary, it's like, we're cheating, and we're cheating better than all of you, and we're winning. I find it entertaining. I love it when these teams do not care about the status quo, and they will go and just be themselves and win in their style. So I can't wait for it. I just can't wait. I know that looks like we got the depth chart released, but I wanted to say here real quick, taking a step back, the opponents that I hope we face, I think it's a good mix of like what tradition is, but also that mentality of like, college football is a blank slate. Like, let's focus on the new. I would want to see Kansas State. I'd want to see UCF for the rivalry with Florida, the black and gold. And I mean, they're recruiting damn good right now. I think they might have the best recruiting class right now rated for next year in the Big 12. And then lastly, I mean, I think the foundation has been laid with this year, and with Coach Prime, having interviewed for TCU against Sonny Dykes a year or two ago or whatever. Have TCU be one of those main opponents. I think that could be a nice rivalry developing here a year early, which could be a lot of fun. So I think it's cool. But man, yeah, it looks like we got some people chiming in on the depth chart, stuff like that. It's looking like Landon Beebe is going to get the start at guard, who I'm a big fan of, JUCO guy. I don't know what else y'all are saying here. It's looking like Jaquez Robinson is out with an injury. Caleb Mathis isn't on the depth chart right now, being a walk-on. That's totally fine. Ryan Staub here at number 2 quarterback, which makes sense. He's kind of been going back and forth with Gavin Cold. Man, any first takes on any of that, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, I knew Staub was going to be the backup QB, just based on what we've seen from CU Buff content putting out there. No, I mean, I think so far, pretty much what I'm expecting is what I'm hearing. I'm kind of surprised that Mathis isn't on the depth chart. He had a lot of touches in the spring game when I was there. So I'm maybe I don't think it's an injury. I haven't heard anything about Mathis being injured, but I do know that he is, not the biggest guy, but he definitely has the most amount of quicks, so to say, about getting into his routes and then getting in, get it out, and then pretty quick. So that one I'm pretty shocked about. I didn't hear.
I mean, at the end of the day, I guess we're like 20 deep at wide receiver, and how many of those guys are going to list on the depth chart? Um, yeah, if you're including walk-ons, which he is. So, man, I can't wait for tomorrow. It looks like he did travel with the team. That's great. Kyrie Mans is starting over Jordan Dominic at
Oh,
edge.
whoa.
So
Okay.
that's very
Whoa.
interesting.
Whoa. Okay.
Twitchy guy.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit smaller than Jordan Dominic in terms of size, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But that's cool. That's cool. Um, yeah, he must have really impressed, like Gearhead said. Or
Yeah, it must be
maybe some
something
of
going
this is
on.
some smoke. Maybe this
Yeah.
is kind of getting TCU kind of feeling a little bit uncomfortable, and then we surprise them with some different sets. Man, I don't know.
Well, I mean, what I heard, Sonny Dykes and the offense have watched like 37 different tapes of different teams or different tapes, and they're watching Sean Lewis stuff, they're watching Charles Kelly stuff, Coach Prime stuff from Jackson State, and like sometimes you can just watch too much content where you're trying to figure out like what tendencies are going to be, and I'm hoping that is overwhelms them too much where they feel like, hey, I saw this here, well, you know it's sometimes overload can actually be a crippling effect to that and that concept. So I'm hoping they watch so much tape that they assume something, but we do something completely different. So
Yeah, yeah. But ultimately, man, yeah, I think we will definitely see Jordan Dominic out there in the rotation. He's too talented to keep off the field, and
for sure.
man, I just can't wait. But Steve, I think we'll wrap things up right now. Thank you so much, man, being so generous with your time, especially on a Friday. And it means a lot to have you on this show. Again, everybody that checked out the live stream right now or watching on the replay, thank you so much for your support. And let's get Steve's channel going. Please hit that
Yeah.
subscribe link in the channel. Before we go, let the people know what do you got going on. What can they expect from your channel moving forward? All that.
Yeah, no, thanks, David. I appreciate that. So, challenge just started about a week and a half ago. Looking to go ahead and put out some CU Buff content as fast as I can as the weeks go along here. I'm going to touch on different topics when it comes to, what happened in the game, what's going on that week in practice, who said what, and just go ahead and give you guys some great CU Buff content. And sure, David gives you great content. I'm just going to try to piggyback and also, do great stuff as well. I may dabble a little bit in other college football as well. But honestly, my main source of information is going to be all CU Buff because right now this train is leaving the tracks and we're about to go downhill. And this is about to be, a lot of great, good stuff coming out of here in 2023 for Colorado football. So looking to talk to you guys in the future. Go ahead and find me on the Go Ride and YouTube channel. And without that, I'll see you guys, when I see you guys. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Steve. Again, thank you everybody for checking us out. Want to give a couple shout outs again to some people in the comments. Buff Since Birth, Nicholas Braxton, Connor Johnson. It's good to see you, dude. I remember you. In the DNVR chats, you're awesome. Southeast Day Go 619. Sco Buffs, absolutely. Let's hope they pull off the upset. And then we see all the lines, the Vegas lines change throughout the year. But again, thank you guys so much for your time. Be sure to watch my live stream. Hit that notification tomorrow for a live watch along as well as post game. And as always, Sco Buffs. All right.